Hello out there, YouTube. Well, if you click the link, I'm sure you're aware. Today I'm talking about the Viper Copperhead R sensorless combo. I basically picked this up for my slash 4x4 or to bounce around in a couple different trucks. Actually, I plan to race with an LCG version, so this is going to be my 8-year-old system. So I kind of put it together. This isn't really an unboxing video so much as it will be just a breakdown, if you want to see it. Also, I'm going to go through and show you how to calibrate it the first time setup, as well as a short little running video. So this is the first time I've ever used the system. I am not affiliated nor associated with Viper in any way. So this will be a completely unbiased review. I have a couple different systems that I run. I got another one coming here in about 2 weeks that I'll run you through. It's a censored system though. But for now, let's focus on the Copperhead. So I went with the Dash R. It's Copperhead Dash R. So that Dash R designation, I guess, stands for race. But what the difference is it's about 50 amps of continuous current handling capability. So the Copperhead, regular Copperhead Speedo handles 100 amps continuous. I can't remember what the burst is, somewhere 480 or something like that, or I'm not sure. This one handles 150 amps continuous. So this is pretty good, actually. I'm quite surprised. Most hobby wings and all the others are 120 amps, so you got 30 amps more power right there off the bat. I've went through and I chopped off the Deans and put my own EC5 connector on here, as well as the motor wires. They are extremely long. They are set up so that you can hook them up in any application and run them around the truck as you need, and you just plug them right into these 4mm bullets right into the side of the ESC. I think that's awesome design. Personally, it's a solderless design. You can buy this thing, plug it in, and race without having to solder a single thing, assuming you run Dean's connectors or you're willing to run a Dean's adapter. So one thing I was kind of impressed with when I did the soldering, can't really tell. Okay, so it's kind of, if anybody's ever worked with a Dean's wet noodle wire, it's got these clusters of strands of wire that are all kind of braided together. I tried to peel them apart to show you, and I kind of messed it up even more. So it's hard to explain, but the Dean's wet noodle wire is very high strand count. They pack like 1,600 single strands of copper into one 12-gauge wire. This is very similar to that. I don't know what the thread count is or the strand count, but it's high. Higher the better when it comes to wiring. So that's very good, very high-end wire. Now, if you're interested in purchasing this system at all, I picked it up from A-Main Hobbies. That's probably your best bet, as if anybody's a member there, you get a coupon code once a month. I'll just show you mine here, and it gives me $12.50 off. So I end up getting the whole system with the ProGauge for $144. Now the ProGauge, you look at that, $35. Like, it's not a cheap one, right? So the $12.50 off made that $22, and that's more reasonable, like a hobby wing program box. But this thing is flippin' expensive, man. However, it is a pretty cool little toy. I'm gonna do a bunch of stuff with it later on, but it allows you to test your servo speeds, make your transit time. So I'm actually going to compare a couple servos with it. It's got this cool feature on the side there, which is an RPM tachometer for propellers for airplane. It allows you to do many different things: battery monitor, servo tester, input PPM signal monitor, yada yada yada. So it does do a lot of things, and it is not the same as any of my other program cards. Like, I have the Sky RC one right here. It's quite a bit bigger. And then I do have the Hobby Wing one as well, which is even bigger than the other two, right? So it is pretty small. You think the Hobby Wing one's small. This one's even tinier, and it's thinner. It really is small in your hand. So pretty cool little unit, I think. I think I'll enjoy it quite a bit. So, like I said, I soldered up EC5s, and I changed the bullets. The motor wires were excessively long. You can imagine how long that is, right? So I chopped off quite a bit, and I added my own, these are high current 4mm connectors. They don't have the typical spring in them, so they actually have more contact area, as long as you make sure that they are nice and snug. So these ones here, they got the springs, and I don't know. I don't really like these very much. They're good, don't get me wrong, they're fine. But these are supposed to handle a little bit better current, so I'm told. Correct me if I'm wrong. So I'm going to go through and basically get my truck together and get this all installed, and I will run through the first time setup procedures and basically run you through all that. I guess I'll give you one quick once around of the case here. I haven't opened it up, and I don't really plan to, as it looks completely airtight to me, and it comes with a warranty. Viper's got a pretty good little warranty, so I don't want to open it and break any seals apart and then lose my warranty just in case. So it is a water resistant design, and that's probably because of these, but it is very sealed, as you can see. So that's pretty awesome. I'm happy with that. A lot of different ESCs have little spots and stuff where dirt and dust and all that crap can get in. Fully aluminum case here. So the bottom's all aluminum. I think that's might be plastic on the side, but anyway, it's a really nice ESC. It's got 3 caps on the top. Most only have 2. They're 330 each, up to 25 volts. Even though you'll never run it that high, you're gonna run it 3S max. And then the motor, I'll give you a quick little once around of that as well. I picked the 4, so I'll run you over the designation here. Basically this is how they differentiate their motors and stuff. So this is the VX4R. Viper 4, so the VX is Viper, and then the 4 is a 4-pole designation, 4-pole motor, and the R is for the Copperhead R ESC. The 4.5 is 4500 kilovolts. So this is a 4500 kV 4-pole 550 can motor. And it is a really nice looking motor. It's one solid unit. So the front, there's no end cap or anything on it. You just would pull these 3 screws, pull that rear cap, and then everything comes out the back end. So when you compare it to another motor, even though it says it's only 61 mils or 62 mils or something like that, compare it to something like this, like a 10 shock. But you see here where that line is, that's just a cap, and that line there's a cap. So technically the whole, it's really only that big, right? So they're very close when you compare them like that. Really excited to see how this thing runs in the truck. I've heard a lot of good stuff about these ESCs, and they are, a lot of people say they are the smoothest sensorless system that you can buy, bar none. Now, one thing I want to mention about you can see the programming. This is the on-off button, much different than any other ESC on the market. Now, Viper makes their stuff in their own factory in Taiwan and Malaysia. Now, when you look at Hobbywing and all the stuff that comes out of China, most of them are all copies or rebrands of each other. The Viper it's unique in itself. There's nothing else like it out there. There's no exact copy of it. It is its own speed control. So it's not a Hobbywing rebrand. It's not a Toro. It's not anything but Viper, which is pretty cool. I think I don't know. That's really why I wanted to try it. It's something where quality control and stuff seems really high. I was very impressed with it, to be honest with you. Seems really nice. The motor's got a nice feel to it, and overall it feels like a quality design. So when you get the ProGauge, it comes with 2 cables. Well, this cable here is gold. As you see, it's got a really weird little 3 plug on there. Well, that plugs into what's called the V port here, and that is the only way that you can program it. You need this cable. So just take very good care of it. I almost want to glue it to something so I can't lose it, because you can imagine how frustrating that'll be. But anyway, moving along, I'll go ahead and get this all installed, and we will run you through all the calibration and the installation procedures. Okay, so here we are. All finished up with the install. I kept it kind of simple. Believe it or not, this truck's got more things wired into it than you might think. receiver controlled switches, front and rear LEDs. I got 10, more than that, 15 body lights ran into the body of the truck. It's all ran off of the third channel on my transmitter. So I got a little bit of wiring that needs to be done to do so. But I kept it neat as I could. I think it looks alright. The 4500 kV motor is a little overkill with tires like this. You want to race it, okay, that's no problem. You're running a 2.2 inch tire, right? Something like this. A lot smaller, a lot less rotating mass. So yeah, if you want to run these big 2.8s, gear down. So I set mine up off of the included. There's not really much for instructions actually. I was kind of disappointed. That's the one thing I would want a little bit more, is the included instruction booklet. They give you a gearing chart. I'll try and get a shot of that for you. You can pause it there if you'd like. It shows you all the gearings that you can use for your motors. There's a recommended gearing chart. It does show you the ProGauge. Like the ProGauge comes with its own instructions. Tells you how to hook up each thing basically. But there's not a lot of documentation on the ESC itself. How to program it, how to calibrate it, all that stuff. There's a manual, but it wasn't included. I had to go get it from the Viper website. Not really sure what the deal is there, but anyway, I will post a link to it in the description there. You can click on that if you'd like to read the Viper manual. Programming it is a little different than a standard, say, Hobbywing or you know, Toro, any of those kind of speed controls. So we do have the V port here, and the way that you access that is the ESC needs to be on, transmitter needs to be bound, and then you press and hold the button and it'll put it into programming mode. Then you connect the ProGauge and you link the device. So I'll go through and show you right now how to bind this together, not to bind it, but how to calibrate it for the first time. So the first thing you need to do is make sure your transmitter's turned on and bound to your receiver. If it's not, you'll have a heck of a time. So that's an individual procedure dependent on your actual transmitter receiver. If you don't know how to bind it, I suggest you refer to the user manual that came with your specific transmitter. So let's plug everything in. And there we go. So the one thing I really hate switches on speed controls, especially in a situation like this where you gotta find a place to put it. I was actually really lucky that they got this little flat spot on top of here, because I couldn't route it anywhere else. I would have had to try and stick it down here somewhere, the way that it's set up. So unless I spin it around, which I didn't want to do, but that's neither here nor there. I just really don't like the switches. I think that the manufacturers need to get away from these and build it right into the unit itself. It is nice, however, that we have no caps to worry about. There's no soldering to do unless you decide to modify it. But as you can see in this setup, the motor and ESC are so close together that these motor lines they gave you are crazy long. They're perfect right now, I'd say. But before they were huge. And there's no way you can use that. So, moving on, I'll show you how to basically just turn it on, press it down, let it go. So it gives you the little beep, beep, beepity beep. This is my RC light kit. Not my light kit, it's a receiver control switch. It'll sit there and flash until this connects. So I got the wrong transmitter right now, is what this is telling me. I have two of these. There it is. Nice, within reach. Oh, sorry, just one sec. Okay, so like I said, make sure your transmitter's on and bound. Make sure that your EPAs are all centered out, your trims, sub-trim, steering trim, throttle trims, all those are zeroed. Okay, they want to be in the center when you do this, or else you could read it wrong. They say that if you have problems, you can hear my servo in there. Anyway, it makes noises, it likes to do that. Getting off track. So if it doesn't bind correctly, they say to increase the, I think it's the EPA or the throttle trim 10%. But I encourage you to read the manual in the description there. So now to program it, all you need to do, I did it from a turned off state. It takes a bit to turn these off. You got to wait till the lights come on. Oh, sorry, I should have shown you that. So I'll just show you when you go to turn it off. It takes a second. You got to hold it down till they light up. Now, if you want to program it, not program it, I mean calibrate it, you just do it like a normal hobby bike. Hold the button down until it starts beeping. There. It's in programming, it's in calibration mode now. So this is already calibrated neutral. You don't have to press the button for neutral position. What you need to do now is full throttle and then press the button. It'll beep again. Oh, I screwed up because I didn't actually do anything. Just one sec. Okay, so you can see those two lights are on there now. So that's full throttle. Press that. Now it switches to reverse. You go full reverse. Oops, right. I'm going to do this while holding the controller with one hand. It is tricky. So now you press it again. Return it to center. It does that, and the green light will come on in the neutral position. Now it's armed. It's not armed until that green light comes on. So there you go. You've now calibrated your Viper Copperhead R. Now it's very important to check. Right now at neutral it should be green. When you start forward, it's really loud in my house and my kids are just sleeping. But when you press the throttle forward, the F will start to flash. When it goes solid, it's full throttle. So you need to check that. It should be all the way through the throttle range. It'll blink. When you hit full throttle, it should be solid tone. Same with the R, which is the orange light. It will blink in reverse, full reverse. It should be solid. Now you should check that and make sure, because an improperly bound radio could not be giving you all the power that your truck has on tap. Right? So now to program it, like I said, the V port has this special little plug here, and this thing, I'm not kidding you, it is gold. So you need it kind of in an area where you can attach this thing, because it is a little bit tricky to get in there. You need a little bit of room. So the way you get into programming is you just hold down the set button again for 1 second and let go. And you see the two lights just switch there, orange and red. That is now in programming mode. So I'll go ahead and connect the ProGauge. Okay, so it's connected, and you get to here. Now this thing does a lot of other things besides just the programmer, right? So you can scroll up and down and check out the other features. Sorry, let me just get this in my hand here. So I'm going to go ahead and link the device. I'm in Profile 1. This is the one that I decided to try out last night. I did modify it a bit from standard, but standard is a little different. So it actually, there's tons of settings in here. One thing I was impressed with is there is a delay function. If the truck is inactive for 5 minutes, it'll turn off by itself, or 10 minutes or 15, however you want to set it. I think that's super handy. How many times you forgot your truck on? It just sits there and runs sometimes, right? So I think that's a good feature. So you got the brake strength, brake curve, drag brake, throttle punch, throttle curve, dead band. You got your motor timing, which I've got pretty soft right now, level 1. Miscellaneous control is your run mode. So you got, it's actually two-stage reverse, and there's a 1-stage reverse, forward only, 2-stage reverse, 1 second reverse. Was that 2-second reverse? 2-stage reverse, 1 second reverse. So I need to look into that. I'm not really sure what the difference is there. Stop, 2 reverse, gonna come to a complete stop. I don't know. I gotta check these out. Seems cool though that you have these options. I never had these before, obviously. So I'm gonna leave it where I had it at 2-stage reverse because I did work pretty good there. I think you gotta double click to get it right, and I kind of like that. So I'm not gonna edit anything there. So you got your motor direction. I'm in normal mode. Start power. I'm at level 3, but it does go a lot higher, and it's super smooth. I was so impressed with this thing once I got it going last night. This is another feature I really like, forward power. So this is your total overall power. So if you want your kid to try your truck, or you want to give it to somebody who's less experienced, you can take this and dial it down to like a 4, and it'll only give them 40% of the total power of the battery pack. So it's basically like training mode, or like on Traxxas they have the same kind of feature on the Traxxas Link app, but I think this is super handy, especially for inexperienced or for training purposes. You also have reverse power, which I keep it at about 50%. Auto power off, this is what the feature I was speaking about earlier. So auto power off after 5 minutes, 4 minutes, you can turn it up to whatever you want. I don't know how high it goes, 10 minutes. So I kept it at 5. And if that's total inactivity for 5 minutes. So, if you forgot about it for that long, that's probably a good thing it shuts off. So battery cutoff, which I already did. 3.3 is where I keep mine. You're only supposed to discharge your pack to 80% of its capacity. It's almost better to even go higher than that. Some people stop. I can only go that high though. I would have went to 3.4 if it let me. Anyway, yeah, so that's basically it. So now I would save these settings, and that's it. And you have a bunch of different profiles. So if you want, you go profile 1 through 5, which are pre-programmed through Viper, and then 6, 7, 8 are yours. You get 3 profiles that you can do for your own, and you can edit any of those 5 that Viper gave you. So I've already edited the first one, which I would never use probably anyway. So that's that. Pretty handy. I'm actually super impressed with this setup. It really is a super smooth setup. I could not believe how it feels, basically. Like when you're on the like any uncensored system, it does, the low end isn't really there, but once it starts, it's still like once the motor engages. Like I couldn't make this thing cog. I couldn't. I tried for a good couple minutes and I could not make it cog. And this is with a really crappy bargain basement transmitter too. This is, the Fly Sky, and these things are, $35 for the receiver and the radio. Pretty much the cheapest set you can get into in this hobby, and they work. They're nothing fancy. But anyways, this thing is awesome, and I'm really excited. I want to try it out with another motor I have, as I have a Losi 2800 kV. It's the LOS B9444 model, and that is one of my favorite motors I've ever owned. I gotta say, 2800 kV, it's right up there. It's exactly the same as a Castle 1415, but with a different rotor. It's got less EMF, or electromagnetic field strength, so it gets that higher kV, but it's an awesome motor. Long can, really good on heat. So I'm actually going to try that motor on this ESC. And like I was talking about at the beginning, this is 150 amp continuous, 760 I think burst. So that's cool, or even more, 960 I think here. It's a lot. It's basically like a Hobbywing 150 or a Toro TS 150 or any of those. So impressive. But like I said, if you're going to run the big 2.8s or you want to run this in a monster truck, I would go probably with the 3500 kV. So that's that. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. I will try to put up a running video of this shortly. I just don't know when I'll have the time, so I thought I'd get this video up at least to show you the system and give you my thoughts, because this thing is awesome. For 120 bucks, I don't think you can beat it. Like, you look at the Valenion Traxxas, is overpriced garbage. I got 2 of them sitting over there in my parts bin that are fried, don't work. But anyway, $120. It's $80 cheaper than the Traxxas set, and it's 5 times the system. You get a 4-pole 550 can motor. This thing's putting out some serious wattage too. I was quite impressed with it. And then you get 150 amp continuous ESC. Like, it's awesome. Viper's awesome warranty. The only thing that was really expensive, I thought, was but once I have it in my hand and I see it, this is a quality unit. I'm really excited to start testing servo strength, or not servo strength, but servo speed. All kinds of cool features with this thing. And it's got a, right there on the end, I showed you that tachometer. You could probably even use that for other or for propellers, but I'm sure you could use it for other stuff. Anyway, thanks a lot for watching, guys, and we'll see you again.